Georgia's got more off-the-field issues, namely, more guys have been arrested for driving in ways other than ways that they're supposed to. Smile Munden, I always struggle with the pronunciation of his name. Smile Munden and Bo Hughley were arrested on misdemeanor separate incident driving charges earlier this week. Misdemeanor reckless driving and racing for Smile Munden. Here's what's wild about this. Number one, it's been a chronic issue with the program there. Number two, we have had people lose their lives there because of this. Number three, I'm not sure this is public, but I'll tell you, they literally had someone come in there Tuesday to speak to the team about this. And not 24 hours later, you've got not stupid people, but you got smart people doing stupid things. So we've talked about this before with Georgia because it's happened before with Georgia. It is mind-boggling, though, how it keeps happening with the same program in the same way. So a couple of things here. It happened on apparently Broad Street in Athens, Georgia. It wasn't well out of town. It was right there in town. And Smell Munden racing a teammate, according to the AJC. These details courtesy of the AJC. DeMello Jones was involved there as well. Here's what's bizarre. Everybody, when they read these headlines, the first thing they say is, there's a culture problem at Georgia. They got a big culture problem at Georgia. Well, they got a big problem at Georgia. They've had a big problem at Georgia on this front. And apparently it's not cleaned up yet. But I've always stopped short of calling it a culture problem because, in my opinion, if it's a culture problem there, we'd see it elsewhere. When I watched Titanic for the first time, I remember when it strikes the iceberg and you get the sergeant at arms and you get the lead engineer, you get the captain. They're all in this room and he's rolling out the schematic of the ship and he's explaining how a breach here will force that water to spill over the bulkheads, compartment by compartment until the ship sinks. That's kind of how poor culture is in organizations. It's not just isolated. If you've got piss poor culture, normally it infects the entire operation. At Georgia, the culture's been rock solid. Organizationally, it's a model program, except they suck at this one thing. And it boggles my mind. It's boggled my mind for a long time. So you're looking at Kirby Smart here. You're looking at B-roll of him, at least. Georgia head coach, if you're watching on YouTube. Kirby's got to do something, man. That's what everyone yelled today. Kirby's got to do something. Hey, they've been doing something. I guess you could kick him off the team. I guess you could do that. You could kick the players off the team. But short of that, I'll be real with you, and I've spoken to enough people around Georgia, and I've heard him speak about it, and I've talked to him about it enough to know they feel like they've done everything they can. Honestly, that's the most disheartening part. I guarantee you that's the most disheartening part for him is there's public accountability and there's the stuff you hear him say publicly. And then there's the real stuff that happens behind the scenes, which is punishing people to the degree that would end most of you in terms of just physical exhaustion. Also, forcing you and mandating you to go through this program and this seminar and this and that. And you figure to yourself, all right, I about killed this kid physically. I have taken large portions of his free time and put him through this mentally. He's already had to bear the burden of shame and scorn. By the way, he has lost a teammate and he has lost people and watched people's lives get forever changed inside the program he's a part of as a part of participating in this foolishness. If he still does it, then what more can I do? I can kick him off the team. I can do that. But what more can I do? That's the disheartening part. It happens at other schools, Josh. I had some Georgia fans tell me that today. It happens at other schools. Yeah, it does. Only one of them's known for it, though. Only Georgia's known for it. You can float me all the conspiracies you want to about Athens, Clark County PD. Frankly, I'd agree with you on some of them. You can float me all the AJC's out to get us headlines you want to. You can do all that, and case by case, I'd listen to you. But at the end of the day, they're not arresting folks for racing up there who aren't racing. So I don't care if they're watching for you around every corner. They may very well be. They're not popping you if you're not actually doing that thing. So it's still happening there. In and of themselves, these are misdemeanor charges. I got pretty good detail on what happened here. In and of themselves, if you stood on the street corner and watched what happened here, you would say, well, that was pretty dumb. That would be the extent of your reaction. But it's not any other situation. It is a Georgia football player or multiple football players in this case, that are once again caught up in something we've seen happen 19 times since the tragedy that happened 18 months ago. That thing happened in January where you see Devin Willock and you see Chandler LaCroix lose their lives. They've had 19, according to the AJC, 19 separate traffic-related incidents since then. It's a problem. It's a problem, but I don't view it as a massive cultural problem. I really don't know what to make of it. I don't know what they'll do about this. I'm sure Kirby Smart will speak publicly. We're going to have him at SEC Media Days next week anyway. But I'll tell you this, for all the Kirby's got to do something, the best teams out there are player-led. How about the locker room do something? That dude's done everything he knows to do. I'm not trying to help him escape culpability there. It's ultimately a Kirby Smart's feat. It's his program, but really it's players' program as well. So outside of whatever punishment Kirby Smart's going to dole out here, hey, what are you guys doing? What are you guys going to do in the locker room about that? Hopefully you have an answer, and it's none of my business to hear about it. It's none of the public's business to hear about it. But, if Georgia's operating the way it's supposed to, Kirby Smart won't have to be the one ultimately that handles this. Players in the locker room will. And if they don't, maybe Georgia's not the kind of team we think they are.